So John Wall was in the news yesterday saying that he is going to be better than ever when he comes back from injuries. And his reasoning for this is that he had like bone spurs and stuff, and I guess all of that was removed when he had surgery on his Achilles. I can applaud John Wall for the optimism. As far as whether we should believe him or not, well, the last couple of years have not been kind to John when it comes to his lower body specifically. Basically from November 2017, the guy's had problems. His knee and his left heel, specifically. We remember that his season ended because of that left heel in December of 2018. The last 2 seasons, the guy's played a combined 73 games. Well, technically it's last 3 seasons because he didn't play at all this year. And then he had the torn Achilles from falling in his home. And I talked about all this when this happened, but I feel like I haven't really addressed it since, and because John Wall was talking about it, here we are. I mean, look, we saw with Derrick Rose what happens when a point guard who relies a lot on his athleticism has some pretty bad injuries to his lower body. You don't come back as the same guy. And I think it's fair to worry if John Wall is going to be that guy. Now, of course, he's going to say that he's going to be better than ever because what else is he going to say? But I don't know, man. It's tough. I mean, John had already been declining a little bit defensively. You could say some of that was because of the injuries. He's just not able to move around as much. Can't just spend all of his energy on everything. He's got to be a little more selective of where he chooses to, make the most contributions. You would pick offense, of course, so that's cool, but we already kind of saw that. Is there a chance that when he comes back, John Wall is going to be bad defensively? I don't know, because, he's still a big guy and he's strong and whatever else, but still a fear. The other thing, of course, is he going to be able to beat guys off the dribble. I mean, John Wall, I would say his isolation days potentially never really took off. He's always been more of a pick and roll guy, but maybe now he would have to be exclusively a pick and roll dude if he's lost like a quarter of a step because of all this. I mean, I think John Wall's best isolation season was probably 2018. He isoed 5 times a game and he had a .95 points a possession. That's like legit pretty good. 2019, it was a little worse. Both of these, by the way, were in shortened seasons for John, so whether he could have done it for a whole year, I don't know. So is he going to have that burst? I mean, his handle's still going to be good, I'm going to imagine that. And he's still going to have the craftiness and all that stuff. But if you're not going to be able to beat guys off the dribble and you got to play pick and roll more, I mean, he could still be successful, don't get me wrong, but it's still not totally what you want. Could he be potentially not as devastating in the open floor? Yeah. John also had that thing that I think only maybe Westbrook has as well, where guys will go under the screen to dare you to shoot, but because you're so fast, you get by them in that 1 second they go under. Is he going to be able to do that? Don't know. He might be forced into more jump shots from mid-range, which he's not good at. I mean, that's been kind of a problem with him for years now. He takes way too many mid-range jumpers. Like this previous season, John attempted about 34% of his shots from mid-range, and when you take into account floaters, it goes up to over about 40%. He's not good at any of those things. He's, of course, great at finishing at the rim, but if you're not doing it as much as you'd really like, then that doesn't help, and that's partly why John has not been an efficient player for, basically his whole career. If we're talking about just scoring, his true shooting percentage, the highest it's ever been, is 54%. I think another thing that's going to be interesting is how many free throws is he attempting. The past 2 years, he was basically at 6 a game, which is, solid. We'll have to see what he can do when he comes back. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I find it difficult to believe that John Wall is going to come back from an Achilles injury, or 2 different Achilles injuries really, and a bunch of knee problems, and be more athletic. Is it impossible? I don't know. I'm probably the wrong person to ask for that, but I've been watching sports for a minute, and usually when there's writing on the wall for a guy in his career, it's usually right more often than not. I think an interesting thing is going to be the Beal, John Wall shot distribution and stuff. I mean, really, like, John Wall should have never been shooting more shots than Beal, or at least for the last, 4 years or so. And certainly moving forward, it should not be a question of who gets the most shots on this team, but John Wall, for being a playmaking point guard, the dude does like to shoot. And, I would hope he doesn't take possessions away from Beal, and I hope Wall doesn't get too desperate in the prove everybody that I'm still good thing. I mean, there's a fine line. Like, you want him attacking, and I'm not saying don't shoot an open 3 and stuff. I mean, Wall should certainly be the second leading shot take. Well, actually, to be honest, I'd rather have Berton shooting more than Wall at this point, but I don't expect that to really happen. So, take your shots, Wall, but just don't take it away from Bradley Beal, basically. Now, of course, Wall can also help Beal. I mean, I know I've been crapping on John Wall a lot in this video, but the dude's one of the better passers in the league, so he can find Beal for those types of things. Another interesting thing is, what will the Wizards do with their center position? They've, of course, committed to Thomas Bryant, and I like Thomas Bryant, and the contract that he's on, I think it's alright. But to me, he's more of like a play 20 minutes a game type of center. Like, are they going to try to get a center who's more of a real offensive option? I don't know. I mean, I guess eventually I'll do a Wizards video, and that'll be talking more about the transactions and stuff they can do. But to mention it now, I mean, a John Wall, Beal, Rui, Bertans, Thomas Bryant thing. I mean, if John Wall's healthy, like, can that team get to 45 wins? Potentially. It'll mainly just be from offense, but that's fine. But I think the other thing that's going to be interesting is, and it's taken me 7 minutes to get to this point, is John Wall's contract. And it's going to be this weird thing of, like, even if John Wall is back and he's pretty good, there's no way he's going to live up to that deal. I mean, that's a contract that you're paying to a guy who can be borderline top 10 player. And I don't know if John Wall has ever really been in that conversation. I mean, at his absolute best throughout the years, maybe. But like I said, he's going in the downward direction right now, so it is what it is. They gave him a lot of money, and there's many things to be said about the max contract thing and whether it's actually good for teams or not, because the intention was to influence guys to stay on their teams, but what it has kind of ended up doing for some teams is locking them into a guy who is good, very good, but not one of the 7 or 8 best players in the league, Now, of course, there's also a chance that John Wall comes back healthy. He's totally fine. He perhaps even is more athletic because of just getting everything cleaned out of his knees and all that stuff. But it's tough. I mean, I mentioned Derrick Rose. Another one's Dwayne Wade. Now, D-Wade was a little different because he was having knee problems all the way back in college. And John Wall has been, for the most part, healthy. I mean, he had a 4-year run where he played 77-plus games each year. So it's not like he's been riddled with stuff his whole career, but 2 years in a row is 2 years in a row. Or actually 3 seasons in a row, to be fair. The 17-18 season, the 18-19 season, and then 19-20 this year. Like 3 years of effectively playing 1 year's worth of games. That's scary stuff, man. And the whole Wizards situation is basically relying on Wall. Because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's an avenue in which they can be a playoff team and be exciting without John Wall being good, but I don't know, because they have very little room to make moves. And that is before re-signing Bertans. So yeah.